Hello, everyone, and welcome. So, tell me, have you ever felt stuck on a profit and loss question in an exam? Wasted precious time? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to break this topic down, make it super simple, step by step, so that from now on, you can solve every single question that comes your way.
I totally get it. Profit and loss problems, they can feel a little tricky, right? You've got these long calculations, so many different types of questions, it's really natural to get confused. But you know what? Just stick with me through this session, because by the end, I promise you'll have a crystal clear, confident approach to tackle any of these problems. All right, so here's our game plan for today. We'll kick things off with the absolute basics, then jump into different types of exam questions, and we'll wrap up with some key tips and a handy formula sheet for your revision. So let's get right into it. Okay, so you know how it is. To master any topic, you've got to have a really strong foundation. So first things first, let's understand some basic but super important terms. First up, we have the cost price, or CP. In the simplest terms, it's just the price you pay to buy something. Think of it as the starting block for every single calculation we're going to do. You got to remember this one. And right after the cost price, we have the selling price, or SP. This is, you guessed it, the price at which we sell that same item. So it's simple. We bought at one price, the CP, and we sold it at another, the SP. And the relationship between these two is what decides if we made money or lost it. And that brings us to our main concepts, profit and loss. Look, if your selling price is more than your cost price, meaning you sold it for more than you bought it for, you've made a profit. But if your SP is less than your CP, then that's a loss. See? Super simple, right? Okay, now these two formulas are what I call our exam mantras. It's not enough to just find the profit or loss amount. Exams almost always ask for the percentage. And here's the most important thing to burn into your memory. Profit and loss percentage are always, and I mean always, calculated on the cost price. Make sure you jot these down. They are the absolute foundation.
All right, that's enough theory for now. Let's move on to our first question type and see how we can actually put these formulas to work in a real exam scenario.
Okay, take a look at this question. Sushma bought a car for 1,20,000 rupees, spent another 28,500 on repairs, and then sold it for 1,38,600. We need to find her profit or loss percentage. Now, right here, there's a very common exam trap. A lot of students in a hurry will only consider the purchase price as the cost price. But that's not the right way to do it. Here's the correct approach. Step 1, you always have to calculate the total cost price. That means the purchase price plus any extra expenses like repairs or transport. So here, our total CP is 1,48,500. Step 2, now we compare. Our total CP is actually more than the SP. So what does that mean? It means Sushma made a loss. How much? We just subtract the SP from the CP, which gives us 9,900 rupees. And finally, step 3, let's calculate the loss percentage. Remember the formula? It's loss divided by CP times 100. So we do the math, and the answer comes out to a 6.67% loss.
Okay, time to level up a bit. Now we're going to look at questions where a single item is sold at two different prices, and we have to compare the profit from one sale to the loss from another. This is a really popular question type in exams, so pay close attention.
Let's read this one carefully. The profit you make by selling an article for 832 rupees is equal to the loss you incur when you sell it for 448 rupees. The question is, what should the selling price be for a 10% profit? The absolute key phrase here is profit earned is equal to the loss incurred. So, to solve this, we need to turn these words into a mathematical equation. Let's assume the cost price is CP. In the first case, the profit is SP minus CP, which is 832 minus CP. In the second case, the loss is CP minus SP, so that's CP minus 448. Now the question tells us the profit equals the loss, so we just set them equal to each other, and boom, we have our equation. 832 minus CP equals CP minus 448. Okay, now let's solve this thing. For step 1, we'll rearrange the equation to find the CP. We move the CP's to one side and the numbers to the other. That gives us 2 times CP equals 1280. So our cost price is 640 rupees. Now for the second part of the question, we need a 10% profit. So for step 2, we calculate 10% of 640, which is just 64 rupees. And finally, step 3, the new selling price is simply the cost price plus that profit, which gives us our final answer of 704 rupees. See? Not so bad. All right, moving on to the next type, and honestly, this one is a personal favorite of mine. It's a classic exam question, and I'm about to show you a simple trick that will let you solve these problems in like seconds.
So here's the magic trick. Whenever you see a question that says the cost price of X articles is equal to the selling price of Y articles, all you have to do is swap the values. The number that's with the SP, that becomes your new CP value. And the number that's with the CP, that becomes your SP value. That's it. No confusion, just a straight path to the answer.
Let's see this trick in action with an example. The question is, if the selling price of 15 items is equal to the cost price of 20 items, what is the percentage profit or loss? Now, it sounds a little complicated, but with our trick, it's going to be a piece of cake.
Watch how quickly this gets solved. Step 1, apply the trick. The number with SP was 15, so that's our new CP. The number with CP was 20, so that's our new SP. So we have CP equals 15 and SP equals 20. Step 2, it's obvious that SP is bigger than CP, so we have a profit. The profit is 20 minus 15, which is 5. And step 3, just calculate the profit percentage. That's 5 divided by our CP of 15 times 100, and 5 over 15 is 1/3, which as a percentage is 33.33%. Look at all the time we just saved.
Okay, our next question type was about successive sales. These are the problems where an item gets sold from person A to person B, then from B to C, and maybe even C to D with a profit or loss at each step. It's kind of like a chain reaction.
Have a look at this one. A sells an object to B at a 10% profit. B sells it to C at a 60% profit. Then C sells it to D at a 12.5% profit. If D paid 59.40 rupees in the end, what was A's original cost price? Now this might look long and intimidating, but the logic behind it is actually very simple. We just need to create a series of percentage increases.
So here's how we break down this chain. First, let's just say A's cost price was X. A sells to B with a 10% profit, so B's price is X times 1.10. Then B sells to C at a 60% profit, so C's price becomes the previous amount times 1.60. Finally, C sells to D at a 12.5% profit, so D's final price is the whole thing multiplied by 1.125. And we know this final price equals 59.40 rupees. Now it's just a matter of solving for X. We take 59.40 and divide it by all those multipliers, and that gives us X, which is A's original cost price, 30 rupees. So we've tackled a bunch of different question types. Now we're moving on to what might be the most important part of the whole session, our revision and key takeaways. This section is going to be incredibly useful for that last-minute revision right before your exam.
Okay, here are some golden rules for you. First, always read the question twice. I can't stress this enough. Second, clearly identify all the information that's given to you. Third, don't forget to add those extra costs like repairs into the CP. Fourth, remember, profit and loss are always calculated on the CP. Fifth, please double-check your calculations. And most importantly, practice every single type of question.
And here it is, your master formula sheet. This is definitely a slide you'll want to take a screenshot of. We've compiled all the important formulas right here in one place for you. The basics for profit and loss percent, the direct formulas for finding SP, and even the formula for that article swap trick. It's absolutely perfect for your final revision.
And as you continue your preparation, always remember this quote by Robert Collier: success isn't about one big thing, it's the sum of all the small efforts you put in and day out. So just keep practicing every day, stay consistent, and I have no doubt that success will be yours. अगर आपको ये वीडियो हेल्पफुल लगा हो तो प्लीज़ लाइक, शेयर और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलना। सारे PDFs के लिए मेरा टेलीग्राम चैनल ज्वाइन करें, लिंक